We are just getting straight into it today because my mind is like racing. Hello, my love. Welcome back to the B is for podcast. I'm your host, Bravia, and today the B is for beyond because I want to go beyond our current understanding and expand the way that we think about the world, the way that we think about everything, really. So buckle up because this episode is one that I have been ruminating on for some time now and have not been able to stop thinking about since I started writing about it. I have a few journal entries that talk about this, and it all started with a very simple question. Why do bad things happen to good people? And I'm sure that you've asked yourself this question too. And I don't think that it's something that has a finite answer because I don't think there's really anything finite in the universe. But the most simple way that I can answer it is by saying bad things happen to good people because they must. This episode, we're going to talk about the concept of duality, the idea of equal opposites, and what that means for you, what that means for the world around us, and what that means for your life moving forward. And so when I was sitting here thinking about, okay, why do bad things happen to good people? The concept of duality may be new to some of you. And so I want to preface this by saying that it's not something that I expect anybody to be an expert in because I certainly am not an expert, but it's the idea that there's an equal opposite for everything in the universe. For example, when you ask yourself the question, why do good things or why do bad things happen to good people? You're looking at two opposite ends of the spectrum in that very sentence, bad and good. And the universe, based on what we have historically seen, has always been separated into twos, into equal opposites. For example, light and dark, good and bad, creation and destruction, pain and joy, love and hate, black and white. Like there has always been this equal opposite that is recognized within the laws of the universe because it's how we have come to define things. If it is not bad, then it must be good. If it is not painful, then it must be joyous. If it is not destructive, then it must be creative. And so we have created these equals but opposites in order to define one another, in order to define the opposite. And it's our way of processing everything that we're seeing around us. And so life, the universe, the natural flow, the law of order has two ends of this spectrum. Therefore, with this concept, with this mindset, you view things as a cycle. In order to experience one, you must also experience the other. In order for you to know true love, true love, you also must know hate or pain or suffering. In order to experience true joy and to know what joy really is, you have to know the very opposite of that in order to be able to define it. In order for you to know light, when you wake up in the morning and you see the sunlight and you see how bright it is outside, in order to know light, you must also know darkness. You must know night. You must know what the absence of light is. In order to know calmness, you must also know rage, like absolute rage. In order to know what it feels like to be calm, you must know the opposite of that experience. And so, for a while, as I've gone through my spiritual journey, I was reflecting on the absence of rage, calmness. And to me, I thought, all right, in order to be healed or at a higher level of consciousness or to be operating at a higher frequency, I must be calm. I must know how to remain calm. Calmness should be a steady state because calmness I tied to peace. And I thought that always being at peace is the highest level of consciousness that you can experience, the highest level of living that you can experience, to just consistently and constantly be at peace, to not let the things that come for you in life, that try to throw you off, that are hard or difficult, take you out of that peace. Like it is your responsibility to remain in this constant state. I believed that for a while. I was like, oh, in a certain situation where somebody really frustrates me, or with the current state of the world, I'm supposed to remain stoic. I'm supposed to remain calm. Although the things that I'm seeing or the experience that I had enrages me, frustrates me, angers me. I believed that true enlightenment, true peace, if you will, was remaining calm through all of that. Recognizing when these feelings are bubbling up and then pushing myself to stay calm or doing practices to remain at peace. And so it got me thinking about, okay, if peace is the desired outcome, but life isn't always about outcomes, it's actually about the journey, then what is the rage teaching me? Like, what do I need to understand about the rage? And I wrote in my journal, and I'm going to read it to you. I wrote, rage and adequate use is necessary. Peacekeeping, niceness, indifference are important, but not to be strived for permanently. Life is full of checks and balances, opposites, polarity. Therefore, in order to achieve peace, rage may be required. The death of a star can create a violent explosion, and yet the destruction is the impetus of creation for new stars, new galaxies, new worlds, life. The universe has a built-in balance, and sometimes that balance calls for necessary resistance, good trouble, and worthy anger. Without it, no creation, no peace, no quiet, and we're all entitled to both. And then, rage part 2. Clearly, I was on a rage kick, because I really wanted to understand it. I wanted to understand why I feel as though I can't find peace while also experience rage, and that wasn't the right way to think about it, and I'll explain why. Because I wrote, rage is necessary. Peace can be achieved through multiple methods. It's not just a constant state. It must be chosen. In order for us to know where we want to choose peace, we must also know what makes it unpeaceful to begin with. And why is it that way? Often you'll find something you resist, something that you want to rage against. Therefore, you seek peace. Anger, rage, frustration are necessary. The goal is not to get rid of those emotions, it's to harness them. Anger is just misguided passion. Vengeance is just misguided desire. Rage is just misguided yearning. Frustration is just misguided eagerness. And then I realized rage and peace are the opposite sides of the same coin. Rage is necessary. It's not that you should always seek peace. It's that you should know what you want to rage against and channel it adequately, because rage, adequately channeled, can lead to peace. And so it's not these opposites that live in different planes. It's not like it's two coins, one rage, one peace. It is one coin, rage on one side, peace on the other. One coin, love on one side, hate on the other. One coin, light on one side, dark on the other. One coin, creation on one side, destruction on the other. But it's one. And so when you think about duality, there is this concept of non-duality. And to even say that, to even say duality versus non-duality is like putting two things itemized separately when they are one. Follow me, okay? You think about a wave. I want you to envision yourself on the beach watching ocean waves about 5 feet tall rolling into the sand. And you swim out and you're sitting with the waves. Maybe 5 feet is a little intense, but drop it down a couple feet. Not to where they're terrifying you, right? But to where you're able to see them crashing. And I want you to picture yourself in the water. You're about chest height, and the waves are rolling in. And instead of looking at the shore, and instead of looking at the horizon, you're looking sideways. So you can see the barrels of the waves. In the wave, there are two forces happening at once that are absolute opposites. At the top of the wave, towards the bottom of the wave, is crashing, is violent, is powerful, is intense, is strong. And on the other side of the wave, within the barrel, the water is still. The water is fluid, the water is calm, the water is soft, the water is peaceful. Think about it. Both one wave, both water, but opposite ends of that spectrum. One destructive, violent, forceful, one calm, still, peaceful, fluid. Same thing. In the same moment, it is both. And so I thought about duality and I was like, wait, rage and peace aren't separate. Light and dark aren't separate. Life and death aren't separate. Crazy concept, but I just need you to track with me. They are the same. They are intertwined. They are connected. They are a spectrum. Everything is on a spectrum, and everything is everything. I want to put this into a real life example. I believe, this is a firm belief, especially knowing and processing duality or non-duality in the way that I have, is that everything happens for your highest good, even when it feels like it doesn't. The hardest moments that you will ever experience in your life are made of the very things that the best moments you'll ever experience in your life are made of. Recently, I went to dinner with a friend who just went through a loss, and she was telling me, I honestly don't know if I'll feel joy again. Like, everything has been so painful, so difficult. This is the worst pain I've ever been through in my life. And I'm honestly scared that I won't feel joy and happiness and contentment with my life the way that I did before this happened. And I told her, I was like, I understand. I completely understand. I know the feeling. I've been there. I've experienced it. And this may not be what you want to hear right now, because I know in your shoes, in the moment in time that you're in, it's not something I would have wanted to hear, but it is the truth. You think that you may not experience joy again. You have a fear that you won't be happy with your life again or content again because of the pain that you've experienced. And I understand, but the reality is you will experience more joy, more happiness, more contentment in the future than you've ever experienced in your life. Why? Because you wouldn't know how to appreciate those moments if you hadn't gone through what you're going through right now. Your level to experience joy has now increased because the level of your ability to experience pain has also increased, to experience sadness has also increased. And so when you go through something that's so difficult and so hard, and it's really hard to see the light, and you're sitting in this darkness, when the light does come, because it always does, it's a spectrum, and it's actually happening around you currently. It's just how you look at it. When you choose to see that light, you will see it brighter than you have ever seen it because you know how dark it can get. Do you understand what I'm saying? Everything has equal opposites, but those equal opposites are on the same spectrum of one thing. They are not two separate experiences. They are one experience on a spectrum. And so you call it duality because it's easier to say light dark. It's easier to say death life. It's easier to say creation destruction. It's easier to say black white. But the reality is it's all one thing that you're experiencing on opposite ends of the spectrum. And you can experience both things all at once, just like a wave crashing on the shore. You can experience peace from the swell, but destruction from the crash. It's happening at the same time. This goes back to me saying everything happens for your highest good. All the pain, the suffering, the highs, the lows, it's happening for your highest good. Life, the universe, favors you, and the things that you experience are just on the spectrum of what you're able to experience. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm prompting you as if you're in the room with me, but this feels like a conversation. Like this feels so abundantly clear to me. And this may take a while for some people to wrap their minds around, and I totally understand that. And if there's a way that I can simplify this message even more, I gladly will and revisit. And if you have questions, obviously ask. But here's how I can best explain it. And I wrote some of this down. Duality is experiencing the same source in its fullness. One coin, heads and tails. One wave, crash and calm. One person, front and back. One life, observer and observed. We think that there is a difference, that there is a separation between I as the observer and what I am observing, but we're actually connected. The very thing that I am observing is a part of me. I'm experiencing myself. I'm experiencing the universe. The universe is experiencing itself through me. Track with me, okay? I want you to think about a supernova. This is what I started to journal about, but I'll explain it more in depth. A supernova is catastrophic. There is a star. I want you to imagine the sun. This will happen to the sun at some point. It will happen in billions of years, and we will not be around to see it, but it will happen to the sun at some point. The sun will eventually collapse into itself. That very collapse will emit power, but will also emit elements that we are very familiar with. A supernova will be so destructive, so violent, so powerful, it could wipe everything close to it completely off the map. But what it will also do is create carbon. A supernova creates oxygen. A supernova creates iron. A supernova creates calcium. In the most destructive, violent thing in the universe, which is the death of a star, life is born. The very things that we are made of. We are made of carbon. We are made of oxygen and calcium and iron. Those very elements come out of the death of a star and birth life into the universe. Our own solar system came from a supernova. And now we experience life here on Earth. Billions of years later, with tons of evolution and all of these elements compounding to atoms and then atoms. Anyways, we can get into physics at another point. But you are made, we are made of the very things that stars are made of. The exact same elements. We are connected. What differentiates us from the cosmos is nothing but gravity and distance. Everything around us is accumulated of the very things that we're accumulated of. And that is going to be a topic for another time about the science behind all of that. But please feel free to question me and look it up. And so, in that, it makes you pause and think. Destruction isn't the opposite of creation, it's a mechanism to it. It is the same thing on opposite ends of the spectrum. And the spectrum is not finite, it's all interconnected. Everything is everything. We are all a part of this greater order of life, of being. And so, you go back to the question of, why do bad things happen to good people? Because they must. Because in order to experience good, you must experience bad. And both can be happening at the same time. And so when you question, like, why is this happening to me? I can't catch a break. Everything is so hard. Nothing is working out for me. The reality of that is all of it is actually working out for you. Everything is very hard because it's also very good. In order for you to experience the very good, you must understand the very hard. I am a firm believer that how you show up in the world helps bring that back to you. If you always focus on the bad, if you always focus on the crash, if you always focus on the destruction, if you always focus on the dark, your focus, your attention is aligned to those things when it can be spent on the good, on the peace, on the light, on the creation. Both exist. And I'm not saying that your emotions are invalid. If things are difficult right now and you're going through a hard time, I am not saying that your times are not hard. They are. They're meant to be. It is for your highest good. It is intended for you to experience those very things so that the good things that you experience are even better. And so I learned that phrase, that concept, that ideology, that everything is happening for your highest good a few years ago. And it has transformed the way that I view life. And slowly and surely, my mindset, the way that I view the world around me, the way that I view the things that are happening to me, the way that I view the things that are happening in the world has evolved. And it doesn't mean that it's less painful. It allows me to help channel the pain that I am experiencing, to hold space and understand that is a part of it. And it's not easy to do. There's no part of me in this that is saying that that is easy at all, but it's necessary. And when you start to understand and acknowledge how necessary that really is, you'll navigate it differently. And it's powerful and it's painful and you experience it fully. I heard this quote once that said, if you were out in the abyss or heaven or another dimension or whatever the case is, and you're having a conversation with someone who tells you, you can experience life on earth under one condition. It will be painful, it will be messy, it'll be beautiful, it'll be joyous, it'll be loving, it'll be hateful, it'll be destructive, and it'll be creative, and it will be the entire gamut of the human experience and of the universal experience. Would you still choose to do it? And I would like to believe that all of us would say yes, because that messiness and pain and everything, it makes it beautiful. It makes it worth experiencing. You wouldn't know highs if you didn't know lows. It would just plateau. Everything still, no excitement, no boredom. It must be this way. And who knows, maybe there will come a point in time, billions of years from now, where it all ceases. It stops expanding, it stops pushing, it stops pulling, it stops destructing and creating. Maybe. But right now, I believe that it is all necessary. And all of it is working out for your highest good. And so there will be more topics in the near future talking about even the science behind some of this, getting more into concepts of how life works. And I'm not sitting here saying that I have the answers, but I do have a perspective that I gained at some point that I'd be remiss not to share because it was life changing for me. Everything that you're experiencing is happening for your highest good. No matter the pain, no matter the suffering, no matter the rage, must experience it in order to experience the goodness and the beauty and the joy and the love and the peace and the abundance and everything in between. And here's the thing, not everything has to be in totality equal sum, but you have to understand the spectrum in order to appreciate fully the spectrum. So as you are navigating, sorry, I had to move my journal. As you are navigating life, as you are navigating the world, I hope that this perspective shifts a little bit the way that you see the things that are happening around you. And I hope that you start to look at everything around you as a part of you. And if you don't, that's okay, it's a journey, but everything is connected. And the more that we appreciate everything around us, the better our experience becomes. We'll get into gratitude another time. But for now, duality, non-duality, what a paradox to even have it be named two things that are opposite of each other. Duality, non-duality. It's like, oh my god, of course, we're falling into the cycle of like giving everything an opposite. It's all connected. Anywho, I hope that this gave you something to think about today. And I appreciate you for even listening and tuning in. There's a lot more where this came from, so make sure that you tune in a couple weeks to listen to that episode or go back a couple weeks to listen to the episode before. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. But I so appreciate you being here. Let me know what you thought of this episode, and I look forward to chatting with you very soon. Bye.